presentation, which I love doing tonight.
Call the meeting order. Welcome everybody. I hope they had a Merry Christmas. Thank you for all the cards that you gave the board members. It's Paul, I see you here. Thank you for that. I hope everybody had a start to the good year. And back to school, everybody happy, right? Candace, you just made a note of the quorum present. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Get approval of December 2nd. Meet minutes if everything's okay with them.
Make a motion.
Got a motion?
I'll say, yeah.
Got a second? All in favor? Approval of January 6th. Agenda, got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Board recognition.
Good evening. Tonight, I'd just like to let our viewers know that it is North Carolina School Board Appreciation Month. With that being said, one thing I can commend our board members for is, as unique as we all can be individually, I know every one of you care about our kids and our families. And I want to thank you very, very much, because that's not always the case. And so in honor of Board Appreciation Month, there's some small tokens that Candace has helped with the purchasing of, but I want to thank each and every one of you for what you do for our families and our kids.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Teachers attendance recognition.
The Jones County Public Schools continues to honor the school with the lowest average number of teacher absences each quarter. This quarter, teachers at Pollocksville Elementary had the highest attendance rate during second quarter. At this time, we'd like to present our traveling trophy to the teachers of Pollocksville Elementary. Ms. Susan Grass, Principal Kelly Cowher Kirshner, and Ms. Denisha Coleman will come up. Now you get to go down on stage.
Way to go. Come on. Come on.
You know that's part of the deal, right?
All right, we're smiling.
We appreciate it. Which one you buy?
In the machine.
Which one you buy?
He's in the machine.
I'm going behind you.
You need to go.
Again, congratulations, Pottsville.
Congratulations.
We're moving to our discussion item, football proposal. Mr. Perry.
I thought I was prepared. All right. Good afternoon, board members. Hope everybody had a great Christmas. Happy New Year. Real quickly, as quick as I can, just kind of want to share an update with football. November 25th, we ended up having a parent-player meeting, and this was for all those either current players or future prospects, grades 8 through 12. This is for any parents, players who were able and willing to attend. We did recap the season and just kind of recap with you guys. You know, we feel like as a whole, in discussion with parents, we feel like we had a successful season. Was it a perfect season? No, but we won games, we scored points, and we maintained our roster size. To fill that in, I know going into this season, the concern was numbers. This year we opened up with 29 players. We finished out the season with 28. The only one dismissal was a coach's choice to dismiss a student for behavior issues outside of the field, because we are students first. So, so with that, 28 players throughout the entire season is very good numbers. The time I've been a part of the program in the 5 years, it's probably the second highest numbers we've had. Part of that discussion was also health, maintaining health. You know, in the past, we've been plagued with injuries, whether they be more on the serious side, concussions, broken bones, whatever the case may be, all the way down to bumps and bruises that players just felt like they needed to sit out with. Very thankful for the work of Dr. Yanni year in and year out. The things she does for us, we cannot put a value on. So I want to make sure that everybody understands the amount of work and effort she gives us, even for her to attend all of the away games. You know, what she does for us and the program and the team cannot put a value on. And then obviously Bennett Jarman with being our trainer, being on hand for practices and games. We only sustained 2 serious injuries this year, one being a broken collarbone and one being a broken growth plate wrist. But the broken wrist athlete ended up returning for the last 2 games. So only one sustained injury for a long term. But that student is thankfully doing better now. To continue to recap, you know, things we're trying to do in the community, we have branched out to do things like trying to read to the elementary schools. Some of you may have seen we attempted to try and hit all the elementary schools. However, due to some personal issues while I was out of work, I missed some time frames. So while we weren't able to hit all the elementary schools, we are going to try and fix that in the spring. We thankfully, because of the relationship of distance in Trenton Elementary, we were able to send down several players, majority of the players down to Trenton Elementary, and they read holiday or Christmas themed books to the elementary school at Trenton Elementary of all grade levels. We felt this is a great way to help build with the concern over literacy, reading, and then also just building a relationship of the younger students in the community and to the older students, bridging that gap. Part of the discussion of football and what we shared with the parents and the players, coaching staff, what we have shared, we're pushing for a year-round model. This is going to look like if a student is not actively participating in the sport, we're going to be having workouts throughout the year, getting ready for the next season, recruiting, doing what we have to make sure we're prepared and ready to roll. Thankful for all those who helped out with our fundraisers this year, whether it be the yard signs that I was excited to see throughout the county, at businesses, homes, locations like that, even outside of the county. And then also our barbecue chicken plates that we sold at the game, which I felt like was a very good success. Very thankful for Bridgeton Poultry with their help and purchasing the chicken quarters through them. Moore's Barbecue, who sold us the size at cost. And then FFA, who cooked the chicken, prepared the plates and stuff like that. We were able to split proceeds and stuff like that with them. So it helped out 2 great organizations at one time. One of those benefits we did want to share, so and nobody had seen this, it's called a Guardian Cap. We were able to make this purchase. They had a Black Friday sale. I spoke with the parents and everybody was on board. So part of our money that we did raise, we used to purchase these. If you're unsure, and I'll let you guys kind of pass this around. They're worn over the helmets. They Velcro onto the face mask. And so that way, during practice purposes, it reduces impact, which reduces the likelihood of a concussion. Also helps with heat, especially during the summer. Helps with radiant heat and things like that. There's other benefits. I'd have to pull their website. I'm not that well versed. However, their marketing team is great. But what we've seen in professional football, it is already been legalized for practice. It's legalized now for game use, which there's been a couple of players this season who has worn them. NCAA has already permitted for practice and is believed will open up for game use either this coming season or the following, and I imagine NCHSA will not be far behind. So very thankful for the fundraising that allowed us opportunities. We purchased 35 of these units, so 35 of our helmets, which I anticipate up front will be enough. And we can always look at expanding as they have a very long shelf life and use life. This will allow our students to be able to compete in practice more frequently with reduced risk of concussions and other injuries. With the outlook just being, we're looking after the safety and the health of our players. As big as your head is, I'm surprised I don't fit there. All right. So, getting into the last item of discussion that what we had at that player meeting, I believe the letter was given to each of you board members, and I'll read it aloud for all that hear. To whom it may concern, on November 25th, 2024, A Jones Senior High School varsity football parent-player meeting was held in Jones Senior cafeteria. There were 8 parents in attendance, 7 players. The purpose of which was to recap the previous season, talk about upcoming plans for the remainder of the school year, and look forward to the future. The piece of discussion was to talk about next year's season and whether to remain independent and play in the 8-man or to move back to 11-man in the NCHSAA. After sharing facts in support of either argument, I was then asked of my own opinion, in which I shared details as to why I feel we should move back to 11-man football. After sharing all of my own opinions, I asked all the parents their thoughts. All parents in attendance agreed with me and were in favor of the move back to 11-man. None disagreed. Part of that discussion, again, I made sure that when I opened up the discussion, the first parts were only factual. I gave parents the facts of 8-man. Should we say 8-man? Here's the things we should know. It was offered to us to play in a 8-man conference. However, still no outlook of being able to play in any sort of playoff for championship purposes, strictly because we would be independent. And then shared with them the information as far as if we go back to 11-man, the outlook, now that the state has released the realignment list for the 8A alignment, we are staying in a 1A classification, which I'm not too surprised on. I had no doubt in that. But with that, they've also released the first draft of our conference. Again, no surprise, they did not change our conference. So the first initial outlook, while our conference stays the same as far as opponents, us and Northside Pinetown being the only 2 teams to remain a 1A. The other 4 teams, East Carteret, who's already a 2A, Southside, Lejeune, and Pamlico, all going to 2A. So it would leave us in a mixed 1A, 2A conference, which we already play in because of East Carteret being the 2A currently. But playoff purposes being the biggest benefit, you know, when it comes to football, the name that always comes up in 1A football is Tarboro. They're out of 1A. They're a 2A program. Looking at the list of schools, it leaves us in a favorable list. As well, I spoke with one of the directors of the realignment committee, Coach Todd Morgan, former principal. I reached out to him because one of my concerns was if there is not enough programs to field a 32-team playoff when it comes to playoff purposes, would we then get bumped back into 2A, or would we remain in 1A and they reduce the amount of team participants? And he did share that their outlook right now is they would just reduce the amount of teams in the playoff. So instead of a 32-team bracket, it would be a 16-team bracket, which that is fine by me. My concern was bump back into 2A, that eliminates the whole purpose of the realignment. So I'm confident with the decision of moving back to 11-man. I wanted to present it to you all today. Should there be any questions, comments, or concerns, and to address those for the public to be able to hear and know that this is truly my intent. When I was interviewed, when I was brought on, I was asked about the 8-man, and I did believe the 8-man was the way to go at the time, and I think it served its purpose, and we got what we needed out of it. I just think that it's time for us to continue to build on what we have. I'm very thankful for the community this season because I truly feel like the community showed out this year, and for being the first year of an unknown thing. Homecoming, we sold over 350 tickets. I saw a video where the parking lot was packed all the way to the student-teacher parking lot, including the parking lot loop. So it was a successful homecoming and a successful season.
You feel that, and you never know this for sure, it's always, but do you feel that the way you might have gone at it this year might have helped with the amount of injuries? And I'm not criticizing any previous year, but
I attribute, for the lack of injuries, I call it playing tough. And I attribute my staff and putting them in a situation of understanding it's time to man up, it's time to play tough. I would like to say yes, but it's a group effort. I think having my staff understand what we need to have happen in this county for football to improve and get where we want, we have to play that way. So I attribute my staff, and I attribute, again, Dr. Yanni Bennett for just addressing it there. And, you know, if you know them, they don't hold back. They tell you what it is, how it is. But then also the player buy-in, player and parent buy-in. being 100% behind me and understanding where I'm coming from when we say the things we say and do. Hope that answers your question.
Well, yeah, we're always as a group safety concerned. You know, a lot of what we did this year with 8-man was safety related. I remember the 2 S's that were put in front of us when it was first proposed. One was survival and one was safety because of lack of numbers. So I feel like, you know,
When I turn around and look at the stands at the end of the game or at the end of the night, and there's more than 60, I feel like we survived and we improved. You know, you look at last year's homecoming, you know, call a spade a spade. Last year's homecoming, there was about 60 to 75 fans. At the end of this game, and the comments were made to me that even at the end of the game, we're down by 10, we're trying to win, but it's not looking good. Nobody wanted to leave. So we've survived. Now it's trying to thrive.
You have, and you don't have to be specific, but I'm thinking that we're doing something. If we've got, you already mentioned year-round contact with the kids. So I'm thinking that we're
Not so much contact, just
monitoring, keeping up with them.
activity.
So I'm thinking that we're on top of academics and eligibility.
Beyond on top, yes.
There you go. Okay.
But, I mean, my thing is, and my players know, I'm in the hallways, I'm watching them during my planning. I walk the halls to make sure we're in class. We're not lollygagging in the hall. We're not playing around in classrooms. The teachers know to reach out. They know I'm present and I'm there.
Thank you.
Are these safety devices ANSI approved, which is usually a stamp that has to go on high school athletics?
I have the paperwork that says that the state does approve them.
Okay.
They are approved for state of North Carolina and
All right.
NCHSAA play.
Okay.
Yes,
Are they washable?
they are, yes.
I heard you're planning on using them multiple years, correct?
Yes. Yeah, they do, and that was one of my questions was the, you know, lifespan use. I've been told they exceed the lifespan of a helmet. Well, helmets are good for 10 years. So.
I do have a couple more questions. The athletic director approved?
I've had conversations with the athletic director and principal, and both are on board. They understand my points, and they agree.
All right. What's the numbers look for next year?
So we had 8 seniors graduate, 6 of which were starters. I have commitment from 4 students who are already in 9 through 12 that did not play this year. They're kind of, I guess, waiting it out to see what it would look like. And then we have roughly 6 to 8 middle school 8th graders that are going to be coming up. So in theory, our growth will grow in numbers and not stay stagnant.
So you're thinking 30-ish?
I'm thinking closer to 30 this year coming up. And I'm hoping with, you know, some of the events we're doing, so, you know, we're fingers crossed, hoping on a spring, in-house spring game, 7-on-7, along with an alumni game afterwards. Things to just do more outreach and show the community we're here to stay. We're serious about football. So the ones who are, you know, we want to transfer our kids out of the county for ball, they'll want to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, is this for discussion now or what is
Let's
this?
discuss.
Well, I've taken a whole lot of questions all year about why are we making it. I said, I made the motion to go with the recommendation of the school at the time. And I personally never liked it, but I was going to make the motion of the recommendation because it was better.
Okay.
So I'm good with either way.
As long as we feel like we can sustain the numbers and do it safely.
Well, student safety has always and will always take priority, and I will not back down from that. If I felt like it was still a concern, I wouldn't push the matter as much.
This past year, you covered that. Y'all, I mean, maybe it was just that year that we did great, but to have that kind of injury situation or lack of in high school is pretty good.
And I understand we can say, you know, by playing 8-man is less not. I think that's a null and void comment or conversation, strictly because you look at some of the teams we played. Parrott Academy showed up with just as many, if not more, than some of our 11-man opponents. They put in some bodies that would do just fine at 11-man. We held our own just fine. So to say it was strictly because we played 8-man, I think is It's comparing apples to pears at that point.
Was there, when we were at conference, we heard, they were trying to eliminate private schools such as like Parrot and all from participating in the NSHA.
NCHSA.
Has that been approved?
No, so where you have the issues, a lot of those private schools are already in the North Carolina Independent Athletic Association. They're their own thing. That's how they're able to compete for an 8-man state championship, is through the Independent Association. There are still academies, charter schools, private schools in the NCHSAA. It's one of those, if you're willing to pay the dues, we'll take you. So now they don't play 8-man, they play 11-man, but there are still private schools in the 1A through 8A classifications that do play football.
So that never went through.
I think that's gonna be an uphill battle until it probably never will happen. I hope it will, don't get me wrong, but it's gonna be a continuous uphill battle.
Well, the only thing I have to say is, as I always say, you put the right person in the right spot and it will happen. You made it happen. You did things that have not been done before. You had community involvement. I saw kids out there on that ball field having fun. I saw parents laughing. The only thing that I heard was the 8-man issue. But my response was, let's get through it. Obviously, you are the reason we had 29 to come out. That makes a huge difference. Personally, I know we're not voting, we're just discussing, is that correct? But I have complete 100% trust that whatever you have told us, I trust that what you're telling us is correct. And I appreciate everything that you did. You put in a lot of effort and hard work and went above and beyond this past year to make things happen, to be able to buy those and make people have fun. And I appreciate that.
When you need a decision by?
Sooner rather than later. I mean, I know we did it for 8-man. If we can amend the agenda, vote to amend the agenda and vote tonight, that'd be great.
I don't think we can.
You need a 2/3 vote by the board to amend the agenda since it's already been adopted. That's up to you.
I can make a motion to amend the agenda, or not.
I'll second.
You need yes, you just need a 2/3 vote instead of just a majority.
Let's do it, let's make it happen. I don't have a problem, as long as we're legal, as long as you're, Patricia's happy.
Right, just to be clear, you have to amend the agenda to add it as an action item, since it's just an information item right now. And that's a 2/3 vote, but if that's what the board wants.
I can make a motion to amend the agenda to add it to an action item as a vote on
After,
the football change.
after the agenda is adopted.
Yes, and that's why after it's adopted, it requires a 2/3 vote instead of just majority, once the agenda has already been adopted.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you, Stephen.
Item F. Department update.
Board members, I've provided each of you with a copy of each department's updates. I will want to comment on a couple of department highlights. Miss Susan Brown and accountability. During the fall, oftentimes we forget that assessments are taking place at the high school. We often believe that it's only a end of year deal, and for a one-person department, it can be an extensive amount of work. So I want to compliment Susan Brown, also with the help of Mr. Aubrey Gadet and Lauren Grimmett. So thank you for the amount of work. Testing went through with flying colors, and that can be a miracle at times. So thank you very much. Also, Student Services, Miss Christy King and Carly Humphrey delivered gifts to 30 students from donations from churches and Toys for Tots prior to Christmas break. So if you see Carly and Christy, just let them know that we appreciate them very, very much. And finally, EC Department, Laura Parks, she's obtained an NCSIP grant. It's a school improvement grant to provide additional professional development for teachers and staff at MES and TES. So Laura, thank you for your hard work. I appreciate it.
Mr. Walker, any questions?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Griffin? No. Mr. Young? Okay. Superintendent update.
Thank you to each of you for being here. Thank you to those of you who are at home. Jones County Public Schools hosted the North Carolina DPI Regional Support Team today. And it is such a blessing to have the whole Southeast here as far as the regional support team. They actually used and collaborated. They used our PD center and collaborated throughout the day today, but they chose and selected to come to Jones County, which is a great gift. They love coming here. They say how nurturing and kind everybody is. So that's a huge compliment to this school district, and DPI would like to come here of all places. Atlantic Dance and Joan Taylor, we have a partnership with them that's grant funded. They provided dance lessons to elementary students all during the month of December. There was also a final performance, which each school's students were able to attend at no cost of us to fuel or driver costs. It was paid for through the grant. So that's something that we look forward to continuing each year. SRO grant has been received for the 2025-2026 school year. Thank you to Laura Parks and Will Sutton. That is an awesome gift for our students, our staff, and our families. It takes a lot of work behind the scenes that rarely gets noticed. So thank you to each of you. And finally, with Mr. Will Sutton, I'm thankful he's in the room. He did earn the Public School Work Safety School Safety Award. This is through his collaboration with our Sheriff's Department and an assessment of each school site's safety needs that has to be submitted to the state of North Carolina. And so, Will, thank you very much. To be honored for that award is quite an honor. Looking ahead, we're back into testing again. It actually started today. This is for Jones Senior High School seniors. It's work keys testing, which is a great opportunity for our students to earn added credentials going into the workforce. On Wednesday, our K-3 students begin reading benchmark assessments. On January 20th, we will celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Our schools will be closed. And on January 22nd, we will hold our monthly district principal and directors meeting.
Ms. Bird, any questions?
Go get that testing.
Ms. Young?
No.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Walsh?
No, I'm good.
All right. Action item A, budget amendment number 4. Ms. Rader.
Good evening, board members. I presented budget amendment number 4 for your review and approval. This budget adjustment, since the last budget adjustment that was submitted, entails a net increase to our overall budget of about $616,000. That increase is across the board for Fund 1, Fund 2, Fund 3, and Fund 8. And this is a result of us just receiving additional funding through our state and our federal funding. We did receive additional revenue through local, and we've also received a couple of other grants through our Fund 8 that have all increase our overall budget by about $616,000. And so I'm requesting today that this budget amendment be approved, and I'd be glad to answer any questions. And
Ms. Reeby, I thought I just understood that we had, you'd said that we received additional local funds.
we estimate how much we're going to get through fines and forfeitures and sales tax refund, and we have received a little bit of increase over what we anticipated.
Okay, that's always plus. Thank you.
Mr. Griffin, any questions?
No.
Ms. Riallo?
No,
Ms. Bird?
No.
All right, can I motion?
I make a motion to
Second.
approve
Got a
budget
motion,
amendment 4.
got a motion, got a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you, ma'am.
Approval of 25-26 Jones County Public School calendar. Ms. Brown.
I'm up here not about testing.
Uh,
I was asked to come requesting your approval for our 25-26 school calendar for next school year. We're trying to get this done proactively early because of our transition into Infinite Campus. And we have to get this school calendar built into the new platform as early as possible. So we sent this out for a vote. We had two options. We sent it out to all of our staff in December, asked for them to vote, and closed that up right before we went home for Christmas. And option in front of you is the one that was chosen by our staff, and we're asking for your approval of that calendar.
So we don't get an option.
Sir?
So we don't get an option.
There's very little leeway, honestly, the calendar committee has. The law of the state kind of stipulates when you start school, when you end school, how many holidays, how many ABL days, how many teacher days, how many student hours, things like that are kind of built in. So there's very little, you think there's a lot of play, but there's really not a whole lot of options.
He's just messing, Susan. He's been here longer than we
Every time
have.
I get up here, I
He
know it.
knows how it is.
I'll make a motion to adopt it.
I'll second.
Got a motion, got a second. Any further discussion?
Well, I noticed that the week off for spring break
Mhm.
has moved back to what it normally has always
It's
been. in the
based on
past.
Easter. This coming up, it was later in April, Easter wasn't, so we would have gone from January until, I think it's like 20th or something like that, I think.
Well,
That's a
what-
long time. So one of the options for this school year was opting to have a little bit of a break in March for students and then another one in April. But because Easter got moved up a little bit again in the normal holiday calendar, we were able to get back to a traditional spring break.
I was just questioning because I've been asking them times, and I was like, well, I don't know. Well, I don't envy your job, thank you.
Yeah.
And will you second it? No, you second it. I second
Here we got a second.
it. You second it. Okay, I third it, fourth it.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you.
Approval of companies to supply window tint services. Mr. Sutton.
Alright, so, here, I'll give you, here's the samples that they gave.
Thank you.
So, me and Ms. Parks, have been working on this for a long time. We've been working on this, it was written in the grant, the school safety grant that we received 2 years ago. And we've been trying to figure out and get through the process of purchasing it. And we did some trial runs last year with the 200 wing, and they looked really good. And they did, and it looked, everything went well. And so we sat down, we went through the process with Ms. Raby, and for the bid process, we put it in news, and we had some companies reach out, and they submitted their bid, and the company that we went with was actually well below the person that did it on the 200 wing. And I called and we reached back to them and like, are you sure this is everything's right? Yes. And we went over all the specs and they sent us the samples, and this is what they specialize in. The company's called National Glazing Solutions. And if you go to the website, they specialize in school safety and window films. These are the safety films that it's hard to break into. You can't they don't shatter. It creates the glass from shattering. And so the total cost would have been $32,000 to do all the things that we want to do, which is about $20,000 cheaper than the company that did it for us in the summer. So we're asking that you approve this purchase. We're trying to do what's best for our taxpayer dollars in the state of North Carolina and Jones County. And so we want to make sure that we're getting quality, but we're also getting a good deal. So we're not just going with somebody. We want to do our research. And me and the Sparks have really dove in and done our research so that we can provide what's best for Jones County schools and the safety of our students, as well as the taxpayers' dollars. We're asking that you approve this purchase, and so we can carry out this, so we can go ahead and get this in. Is there any questions?
Ms. Bird, any questions? Ms. Fiat?
I have a request, and Mr. Martine, I talked about this. I think this looks great, and I'm glad to hear they did informal bidding. It sounds like, I would just ask that this be, if you're all open to it, included on the district standard form contract, since this is just a proposal with some terms that we attempt to use our form service contract.
Yes, and we can roll with that. We can do that.
Yeah.
No problem.
This is inappropriate, but you could sell a dead dog.
Well, I have some, but. But you can still see in, you can still see out very easily. It's going to save on our energy bill as well. And so they went through all the specs, and I think it's great that we're going to have a little bit of privacy for the people that need privacy, and people can't just see in from the road. And, you don't want them deer hunters riding through Jones, and somebody's got a great big buck on their shirt or something like that. You know how people get a little crazy in Jones County deer season. We want to make sure that our students are safe.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Griffin?
You say it helps with the shattering of the glass, but it's not bulletproof, correct?
It's not bulletproof.
That's all I got.
We,
But I already assumed that anyway.
what's the start date on this installation?
He said it would be 3 to 5 weeks as soon as we get it approved from the Board of Education.
Yeah.
It'll be, well, they'll start working on it.
You want these back?
I mean, if you
Very
want to keep it,
impressive.
you can show it to people like, this is what we're doing in Jones County.
All right.
You know, I looked at them, I thought they were different. I thought they were giving me samples. So I looked at them for an hour trying to predict if they were like, which one's which? Turns out they're the same.
He's good.
You didn't overthink it, did
I'll make a
you?
motion to accept the bid.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We need to be sold anymore from Mr. Sutton.
And we also have cameras, B&B Communications has put cameras on the ball field, so we'll have visibility of the ball fields as well, and some vehicle license plate recognition and facial recognition in the entrance of the ball fields, so that when people are coming in and out of the ball fields, we know if they are banned or if they're not, and the license plates, if that vehicle might be able to see if people are coming in to work or not.
Wow.
And that program is actually saving us money.
Yeah.
Yes. Where we don't have to pay a yearly contract one. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's not what we got from B&B is not proprietary. So
I think you'll like them. It's great.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
Good job, Will. All of you, Ms. Parks, everybody.
Vehicle lease program, Mr. Martin.
We got the room, but we just support that to follow. Got any dead dogs? But sometime in the past, I was tasked with finding a viable solution to vehicle replacement with Jones County, because we have some aging vehicles that we really need to replace. I have several 100,000 miles on. We have not had the opportunity to do that. We have replaced one of those in the past, but anyway, I was tasked with trying to find a solution to that problem sometime in the past. And what I did is I tasked Mr. Padgett with finding a solution for me, because he had done a vehicle program before in Baltimore County. The problem we ran into to begin with is we didn't have enough vehicles to qualify for the lease just through the James County Board of Education. So in turn contacted Mr. Kyle Smith, county manager of the county, and with his permission, we could actually attach on their vehicle lease program, sublease to them, which gave us an opportunity to do the lease program. And that's what you should have in front of you right now, and I'll just go over it briefly. And this is a lease purchase program, that's the way this thing works. And to start out, what I did is I have a total of 5 vehicles we're leasing. 4 of those vehicles will be replaced with the maintenance department. 1 will be replaced with the transportation department. The vehicles that are with the nutrition and the IT department are fairly new and in good shape right now. And we'll probably look at maybe replacing those sometime in the future if this lease program works out. What we were looking at is how we could replace that number of vehicles at one time without an impact on the budget. A tremendous amount of money, close to $40 million in vehicle replacement. And the lease program, what it allows you to do is lease those vehicles over a period of time. And all this is a projection, not very projection with it. But the cost of the lease originally on 5 vehicles is going to cost us around $5,441.86 a month. That's going to be the lease payment. And as I said, that lease is through and by the county, but it is our lease in our name. It just gives us the ability to tag on to there if we know it. That would cost us around $65,000 a year. And the lease term is for 48 months. And at the end of 48 months, all we have the ability to do is take those vehicles that we have on hand, and I've done this projection on 25,000 miles per year per vehicle. And I think that's probably realistic. So that'll put this vehicle at the end of 48 months to somewhere around 100,000 miles. And you'll notice the vehicles we look at leasing are 4-door vehicles, trucks, full-size vehicles, and the reason for that is for resale value. And what we experience is at the end of 4 years, if we do the resale on these vehicles and turn them, well, we say turn it back in, but actually Enterprise can sell these vehicles outright for us when we turn them back in. That money can be applied to the lease program again, which reduces your payment. So you build equity in the lease over a period of 4 years. And the projection on that is your return at the end of 4 years on those vehicles should be around $200,000. So if you take that $200,000 and sell those vehicles and roll it back into your lease program and maintain a new fleet over a period of 4 years of time, you should be able to reduce that lease significantly over the next 4 years, which reduces your cost year over year while maintaining a new fleet and low maintenance standards. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Mr. Ross?
No.
Mr. Griffin?
No.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mr. Chair, I have one, again, Mr. Martina talked about this. If the board approves this tonight, I'd like it to be subject to compliance with legal requirements. I believe this probably constitutes a lease purchase agreement, which it sounds like the district has the opportunity to purchase them. And because under the applicable statute, it's more than 3 years and just over $250,000, it triggers some obligations in the statute, one of which is a resolution adopted by the Jones County Commissioners. So I want to look at the actual lease agreement and make sure I'm correct, but I think depending on how it's structured, it could trigger those requirements, and it sounds like it won't be a big hurdle to get that down to the county. I have a form resolution. There's a couple kind of legal steps we might need to do to ensure compliance with the statute for this, if it does constitute a lease purchase agreement over $250,000 over 3 years.
And Mr. Robinson, I reassured you that we could get that approved in a signed template in speaking with Mr. Kyle Smith.
Oh, perfect.
So we need to make a motion to, pending your approval,
I would say pending compliance with applicable legal requirements, if that's okay with you, that gives us a little wiggle room so we can see what other, if it does require those additional steps that I mentioned, so that it's clear, you all aren't approving it except if we meet these other legal requirements.
I'll entertain that as a motion with what you said.
So move.
So moved.
You got a motion,
I'll second.
you got a second. All in favor?
Yeah.
Any opposed?
Thank you, Tim.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Tim. Approval of first amendment to the superintendent contract.
Can I handle this one, Mr. Chair, if that's
Yes.
okay with you? So consistent with the board's directive at our last meeting, I prepared this first amendment to Mr. Marquis' contract. If y'all have any questions, I'd be happy to.
Any questions, Mr. Walsh?
No.
Mr. Griffin? Yes, we are.
No.
Take a motion.
Motion.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Action item F that we added, football, vote on 11 man.
I'll make a motion at the request of the school to move back 11-man football.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second? All in favor?
Uh,
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public comment,
No one is signed on, Mr. Chairman.
nobody.
Nobody.
y'all are doing a great job, evidently. Thank you.
Board member comments.
Thank you, that was special.
Mr. Boss, any party shots?
Hope everybody had a good holiday. Hope everybody got a chance to play with the little ones. My family got a chance to play with me. I'm the world's largest elf. I had a t-shirt say that this year. You know you're in good shape when your grandchild wants marshmallows. So that went over. That's pretty good. She got 800 marshmallows. So everything went well. Thanks to everybody. Her mom's not happy about the sugar high, but anyway, thank y'all.
Mr. Griffin?
I never realized how thirsty somebody could get until you get short of the water. I didn't know where the Larry was, but I've been thirsty all this whole meet. So I see we're saving money, but 20% of us didn't get our bottle of water. But that's all I got.
You got a cup.
Here we go.
He don't deserve it. He don't deserve it.
Save it to next week.
Yeah, you good?
You do.
Yes, we are.
Well, I'm glad you're back. I know it was hard getting up this morning to come, but I'm welcome you back. Appreciate everything you do.
Ms. Bird?
Happy New Year, and glad to see everybody back, and hope you got plenty of rest and rejuvenated to start back up. And thank you for all you do, and because I did see some folks doing things through their holiday break. So we see that, we know that you don't just take off and never come back. So we appreciate all of that. And Ms. Raby, I just want to commend you and thank you again for all of your hard work for our finances. Without you, we would be lost, because you're very detailed and dedicated, and we very much appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
Thank all your elves too. Everybody that helps you.
And there's a little person over there. She's probably asleep, but I just love seeing the little people come, even if they're coming with their mom or whatever. But hey, I love seeing them. Thank you for coming.
Denise, is that the third generation?
Yes.
Now, I hear you. That's the right answer. That's the right answer.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming. Let's finish the year off strong. Finish out strong. Right, testing. We are going into closed session now to discuss legal and personnel pursuant to General Statute 143, 318, 11A, 1885, and 86.
Careful driving home.
All right,
Direct
thank y'all.
closure,
Y'all too.
personal
So moved.
information.
So moved.
Got a second?
Second.
All in favor?